At 7:42 a.m., my RV rolled past our HOA clubhouse under yellow HOA compliance tape. While a county SUV eased to a stop, a badge flashed, and a man asked who tampered with the communications unit. Karen Whitfield, our president, lifted her chin, like the sidewalk paid rent to her, and said, "We enforce standards here." The agent raised a tablet with an amber seal, blinking, and for once, the loudest voice on the block had to share the room. "I live in Maple Grove Estates outside Fort Collins, the kind of place where lawns are measured and mailboxes stand at attention. I'm the quiet guy who fixes radios for the county when wildfire season gets loud and keeps a Class B RV tucked behind a 6-foot fence. Our posted rules call compliant Bylaw 8.3b. If you like numbers screened, RVs permitted, if not visible from the street, simple enough, or so I thought. At 6:02 a.m., that same morning, Karen knocked hard enough to rattle my coffee-mirrored sunglasses on at dawn. "Pink violation slip ready. You are fined $500 for visual encroachment and temporary structure. Non-conformity pay. By Friday or penalties compound." I asked what changed, and she smiled like she just invented gravity. "Version 17B. Check your email." I pulled up the portal while she watched the public bylaws. Still showed 8.3b. My fence still did its job. My RV still lived on my side of the line. By noon, my gate fob was dead. The gym said I was suspended, pending compliance, and a mass email blasted the neighborhood. An eyesore. Is harming property values with a blurry photo of a white corner peeking over my fence like evidence from a soap opera. I printed the bylaw, filed a dispute, told myself the system would fix itself if I fed it. Facts. You know what I mean? You try to be reasonable until reasonable gets laughed at. At 4:18 p.m., a tow truck idled at my curb. Doug and Mindy from the Compliance Patrol stood stiff beside Karen while she told my doorbell camera, "This is a voluntary relocation to the compliance lot." Voluntary, the way a tornado volunteers your roof to the next county. The tow hook scraped concrete like a fork on a plate, and the HOA tape went on. Crooked but proud. I stood there with my highlighted printout and felt like a man who brought a highlighter to a knife fight. Here's the piece Karen didn't know, and here's where the story turns. The county had fitted my RV with emergency communications gear for the season. Legal sealed a tamper sensor that doesn't care about clipboards at 4:31. My phone rang. "This is Agent Cole Hart, with emergency services. Did someone access your unit?" "The HOA towed it." I said. There was a pause. "You could pour into a glass. Keep eyes on it. Do not approach. We're en route." While I waited, the neighborhood kept doing its ballet sprinklers, ticking in time, a power washer, singing confession down the block. I stood still and started collecting receipts. Brooke, our treasurer with a quiet spine, texted a screenshot of the ledger. Landscaping double-billed President's Discretionary. With no minutes, a vendor. That shared Karen's last name, Tom. From the phone shop, brought a memory card. Got 4K of the tow. She told the driver to roll past the stop sign so you couldn't film the plates. And Aisha from 2 streets over knocked like a metronome. "I'm an attorney. They can't tow from behind a private fence without proper notice, and a vote. They can't suspend access without due process. Document everything." A black SUV turned in soft as a suggestion. Agent Hart stepped out with 2 techs, and Sheriff Luis Ortega met us by the clubhouse lot. Hart scanned the rear seal. The tablet pulsed amber. 2 tamper events recorded, one more forced attempt, and the system purges mutual aid. Frequencies and route maps, he said. It calm, and my stomach did the opposite. Karen smiled for the crowd and said, "Sir, this is a camper, and we are protecting community aesthetics." The sheriff looked at her like a teacher who has heard this excuse since 1998. The second you ordered the tow, this stopped being about aesthetics. Karen announced a transparency briefing for Wednesday at 7. Meanwhile, she posted on the neighborhood forum that my vehicle had surveillance and children might be recorded, yeah. That happened. Big, scary words thrown like rice at a wedding. Agent Hart didn't go public. He sent the board a letter that read like a barbell. Possible violations of state statutes concerning interference with emergency communications equipment. And I did the one thing I could control. I built a file. The bylaw printed with timestamps. The mass email. Tom's tow video on a drive. Brooks' ledger page flagged Aisha's outline of statutes and procedure. Neat dated ready. Wednesday night, the clubhouse was packed. Folding chairs, scraped tile. The projector hummed like a quiet dare. Karen opened with unity and safety, and a slideshow of fences she liked better than mine. When the questions started, I stood, and she cut me off. Members may not present unedited recordings. Orderly dialogue. Only. The back doors opened, and Agent Hart walked in. Like a period at the end of a long sentence, he tapped his tablet, and the amber seal filled the screen to tamper times. 23 and 4:26 on Monday, who accessed the rear bay at 4:23. Doug's eyes slid to Karen compliance, he said. Like it was a person, the sheriff asked. Is compliance a person? Now a laugh flashed and died. We enforce standards here. Karen said. The projector switched to a map line from my backyard to the lot, and something in the room stopped fidgeting. I said 3 things. The bylaw that allows screened RVs, the mass email. Calling my home an eyesore, and a video of the tow where the driver blocks my camera at her direction. Then Aisha read the state language on towing from private property and due process. Steady and surgical law arrives. It doesn't shout, it just sits down and refuses to move. Brooke stepped up with a ledger page and a voice that shook once, then leveled President's discretionary, used for a board retreat, and consulting paid to your cousin's firm. No minutes, no vote. The word cousin hung in the air like a loose wire. Hart handed Karen a notice of investigation, and the sheriff issued citations for unlawful towing and criminal mischief pending review. The air changed shape. Gossip turned into record. A board member raised a hand like a person offering to pull a thorn motion to remove the president under Section 3. 4. For misconduct. Hands went up row by row. Not a single one stayed down except hers. The keycard in her palm beeped red at the side office like the building itself had an opinion. Security stepped forward, not cuffs, just an open-hand clipboard. She held on one heartbeat too long, then let go, and the tiny sound it made leaving her fingers carried farther than applause. I wish I could tell you we had a block party and rolled credits. We didn't. I walked home and sat on my step, while my dog waited for an ice cube, and the neighborhood took its first quiet breath in months. What I felt wasn't fireworks. It was my voice moving back into my chest after being crowded out. The difference between being loud and being heard. The relief of seeing a rule become a tool again and not a weapon. Karen will hire a lawyer. She'll write long posts and claim the word "which" with a straight face. Maybe a judge will speak the word guilty someday. Maybe not. What already happened matters more to me. A room chose silence over habit. A board chose a rule over a ruler, a badge, a statute, and a ledger. Stood shoulder to shoulder and said, "Enough." The RV is back behind the fence. Seal replaced logs intact, the same piece of fiberglass that started all this legal as sunrise. I keep replaying her favorite sentence. We enforce standards here, and I keep hearing what the sheriff said back. Standards do not trump state law. Somewhere between those two lines, lives. Every neighborhood argument, how tidy is too tidy, how much order. Before it turns into obedience, where is the line between caring for a place and crowning a hall monitor? You know what I mean? Because this is where I want you in the story. When a board president drags a tow hook across your driveway and calls it voluntary, is social exile enough? Or do handcuffs need to make a cameo for the world to feel right? If a bylaw can be rewritten by an email, what keeps it from becoming a stick? The next time someone decides your fence is a philosophy problem, tell me in the comments for real. If you've seen a small rule used like a big one, if you've got receipts, if you think I'm the one who missed the line, drop it, argue it, share it, hit like if quiet facts, beat loud. Threats. Send this to the neighbor who labels a folder proof and tell me what justice looks like here. Rewriting the rule book, removing the clipboard, or watching a judge raise an eyebrow and say no. I'm listening.